This is a Note to Future Me, Monday, August 6th, 2018. I want to give a big shout out to my friend Matt Holsinger. Haven't talked to him in a long time or seen him in the market that I am in. He's over in Vegas now, but he is the founder of RevSquad.com, an on-demand fixed pricing marketing services owner and CEO. But he gave me a shout out on LinkedIn today in regards to Breaker, podcast listening and discovery, Breaker.audio, with their announcement in regards to what they're doing for their podcasters to help them monetize their podcasts through gated content, through sponsorships, through a variety of different things. But the big piece was about Breaker offering some gated content opportunities. And he posted to me, said I'd be interested to hear from Pro, tagged me, on if he sees this as good, bad, or inevitable shift in podcasting. He says some podcast networks already archive their quality content behind a paywall. This appears to be different, allowing individual podcasters to join one marketplace. Will we eventually see a Netflix of podcasting, or perhaps will Breaker try to turn into that? In other words, will those networks and independent podcasters eventually decide to stop doing ad sales and instead license their content to one platform that charges the listener a monthly all-you-can-consume subscription? And some good questions. There's been a lot of talk about gated content already, kind of that term Netflix being floated around when you run across that. I commented to him. I said, hey, Matt, thanks for asking. It's an interesting move. I think we'll probably get to the point where premium podcasts are more common, but I don't think it's going to happen really soon. I don't think we've reached the listening/listener tipping point yet. I could see this concept used like Patreon, where there's a free weekly podcast, then creators would add additional content to the premium, quote-unquote, channel. Breaker is more seamless, it appears, than Patreon, but ultimately the content has to be really, really valuable. And the end user, the listener, has to be able to access the content really easily. Stitcher and Hal FM have not really set the world on fire with what they're doing, but theirs is the long game for sure. I would think if you'd want to gate your content, you probably would want to do this on your own website rather than rely on a third party. There is a place for this, and only the podcaster will have to decide whether it fits their long-range plans. This could be the opportunity for audio drama/fiction podcasts to really make some money, especially those that are avoiding or maybe not knowing how to implement sponsorships at this point in time. But the money will flow into those genres as well sooner than we realize. And again, it could be a template for it. So it's interesting what's happening. I think a lot of it comes down to how good the content is, what the podcaster wants to do, as well as if that podcaster is listening to his or her audience, that they're willing to pay for that content through whatever platform they decide to do, whether it's a Breaker platform or just straight out Patreon and offer added incentives through the Patreon model. I think it has a lot of growing up to do yet, but it will be interesting, and I think this fits podcasters real well in some form, and others it just isn't going to fit for them because their listeners aren't going to take advantage of it. But that's where the conversation has to happen between the podcaster and the podcaster's listeners. Thanks for taking notes with me. Hey, by the way, if you want to receive my free email newsletter, Open the Mic newsletter, it is available for subscription. It's free. It's a daily newsletter available at circle270media.com. I cover Sales 101 for podcasters, Podcasters Production Toolbox, Podcasters Social Media Toolbox, podcast news, as well as on Fridays, I publish a list of podcasts that I suggest you should listen to and binge on over the weekend. Again, that's over at circle270media.com.